Hi guys, welcome back to another video from Hustle for Life Motivation, the channel that shows you how you can conduct the symphony of your own success. My job is to bring on amazing guests and to then dissect their mindset, to dissect their lifestyle, to dissect the in-betweens of where they were and who they are now and how they actually went through the transformation, how did they manage to achieve their success and get to their ultimate ideal destination. So you guys can take those same principles, tactics, strategies, and tools and start to apply them to your life to start to accelerate your life. Now, first of all, I'm going to ask you a question, and that is, have you subscribed to the channel? If you have not subscribed to the channel, then you can just go down below and hit that subscribe button. And I don't even mind if you just pause the video and just do it right now. Just go down there and hit the subscribe button, okay? Because that's not only we can make this channel grow and build a strong community around it. And it allows me to actually bring on, you know, more amazing people, bigger names, etc., to basically serve you guys better. So, you know, if you haven't subscribed, please make sure you do subscribe. And you're watching the video, just go down below and hit the subscribe button. Now, today I have a very special guest with me. He is a very, very good friend, and there's a lot that I can relate to him. All the experiences that I've had in my life are very, very similar to his experiences, and there's a lot that I can personally relate to him. Now, tonight, who we have with us is somebody who is actually was formerly homeless, and he's actually a blogger who started blogging about money, but then he switched over and started blogging about depression because he was absolutely overrun by depression, and he really wanted to raise the awareness in the world about depression. Now, this person actually really knows the dark side of life, okay? Because he's been softly contemplating suicide for like 15 years, pretty much on a daily basis, up until about 2 years ago. And he's had, you know, multiple unsuccessful, you know, relationships. And he now actually realizes, looking back at it, that he actually entered them from a victim mentality, which is fantastic because he's able to figure it out. And to be honest, the last relationship that he was in was so painful and so toxic that he actually just walked out and was homeless for 8 months, okay? And it took him then nearly another 16 months afterwards to adjust back into society. But he did it, and he never, ever gave up. Now, this person's also a very talented musician. And he's just creative at heart, okay? And he has multiple passions, okay? He has multiple passions, which I'm very excited to talk to him about later on. He's passionate about personal development, mobile business, you know, technological progress, personal growth and personal progress, and health as well as mental health. So guys, please help me welcome somebody who knows what it's like to hit absolute rock bottom and start digging, but somebody who also know what it takes to actually claw your way back up and to begin the greatest of journeys that anybody can actually start in their life. The journey to begin to find your true self. So please help me in welcoming my very good friend, somebody who I have so much respect for, somebody who I think can actually teach us a lot today. He is actually from Iceland. He descended from the Vikings themselves, and please forgive me if I mispronounce his name, but I will do my best. I will do my best. So please help me in welcoming Hordur Valsson.
Yeah.
How you doing, man? I'm so great that we were able to do this.
Doing great, man.
Fantastic. Excellent.
You have a feedback loop on the sound.
Oh, is there?
Yeah, the speakers are on.
Oh, okay. Is that better?
Yeah.
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Okay, I'll just hold it here. I don't know what was going on, but I'll just hold it here. Okay, awesome, man. Cool. So what we'll do is we'll start off maybe from the beginning. Can you just talk us a little bit, just very quickly, very briefly, just talk about your journey, like I know you were from Iceland, but now you're living somewhere else. And just briefly, if you just mention the events and what happened in between, please, and then we'll dive into some of the deeper stuff with the questions.
Like from teenage years when depression hit, or
Sure, yeah, that's probably a good place to start. So maybe you can talk about how did your depression start, and what did it feel like?
yeah. Well, I grew up and lived in a very beautiful town in northern Iceland. And if you are a weirdo in a small community in 1990s, it's a great thing because you get free rehearsal space for your band.
Right.
But when you start talking in public, not so good if you're not strong. We didn't use words like introvert at the time, and there was definitely no like pat on the shoulder for being like an entrepreneur, because that word didn't even exist at the time. So
Yeah.
it was the fish.
Yeah.
It was a fish factory or education or lots of path. I chose every path I didn't want to travel, and I didn't believe enough in myself with the music, so I just kind of. Once I went from 15 to 17 and began working full time in those 2 years, then 2 years later I started smoking hash too
Right.
much. But if you're if all you do is dream about something else and you don't do it, and you're depressed, then cannabis becomes an ideal, though not ideal solution, but it's an easy escape.
Yeah. Yeah.
And when you're high all the time, or at least every evening, and then you work 12 hours a day, it's a slippery slope down to not dealing with anything. And I didn't even know I was depressed. Just thought the world sucked.
Yeah.
Or I did. Or like, fuck this guy, fuck me.
Yeah.
And, and we drink a lot back home. And if you're fucked up and you get drunk, you get worse. Like, yeah. And then you can blame the culture for being drunk for 3 days because there's a festival here and so forth. I'm just grateful I didn't go into MDMA and cocaine and that shit back then. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's actually though crazy that people judged me for smoking weed, but they didn't judge me for getting drunk because everybody was.
Yeah.
So I was kind of just laying flat under a society that didn't get me and I didn't get, kind of.
Yeah. So there was
And
a lot of struggle there at that point.
Yeah. Young people deal with all kinds of shit, and if you're not strong, then you are pretty much fucked. Or if you're not clever, like I was neither strong nor smart. So.
Yeah. Wow. That's really open of you, really vulnerable of you to actually share that. So I think the question I really want to ask you is like, you talk a lot about, being depressed, being homeless, and, you just mentioned even, doing drugs, and you talk about it very openly. So what actually allows you to do that? Because I know that a lot of that stuff is really painful to talk about, and also the fact that people sometimes they feel hesitant, they feel ashamed about this happened and that happened and I did this, but you're quite open. You're able to actually talk about it quite openly. So really, what allows you to be able to talk about it so openly?
I guess there are a few factors. I am 41, so once you hit 40, you don't give a fuck.
Fair enough.
Life actually begins at 40, and even though you get more tired all the time.
Yeah.
And we are very open in Iceland, even though we hide socially. Like we're known for being arrogant. And it doesn't matter who you are. If you're a biggest celebrity or a poor person, nobody really goes and idolizes anyone there. Like, it's a little bit Viking culture still, so you can say whatever you want, and you will also get any kind of reply that you don't want. And I mean, I've spent the last 25 years thinking about what's this, what's that, what the things mean. And most parties I went to, I would just sit in a corner, listen to the music, watch the people, and think about everything. And when I got tired of thinking, I began talking. which is much better, but you have to accept people's hatreds. They may not understand, so.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And you just talk about people not understanding. And I think that can be quite a big challenge as well, that you're always thinking in the back of your mind, what if the other person doesn't understand? What if they don't get it? What if they don't, what if they actually start to dislike me because of this? So I know that can be a really big challenge for a lot of people to actually open up, to start talking about what they have gone through or what they're going through. So can you maybe talk about a little bit about that then? Like, how did it feel for you when you were actually talking to all these people? Like, and you knew that maybe they might not accept you for who you are and what's happened to you.
I think the key to any debate or discussion is to not judge the other person, because then they kind of come cool around you. Like, if you have this friend and everybody has this friend, they cannot agree with on anything, but you can still sit together and talk about anything. And then you can get into a heated debate with someone that just has a vibe you don't like.
Yeah.
I really can't remember the last 2 years so well. I don't know what I did basically to reach this point, but don't take it personally if somebody hates you. That's their thing.
Yeah.
They might be having a bad day, probably are.
Yeah.
And sorry, there's a thing on the screen. If they, I mean, they are everybody is entitled to their own opinion.
Sure. Yeah.
So, and my biggest challenge has been to not go into a hating. I used to be the worst person on Facebook. I'm so glad my old account disappeared, and I had to restart.
Right.
And this anger on the internet is actually what got people to report me for being a fake profile. So.
Right. Right. Wow. Yeah. No, you mentioned the fact that, you're now 41. So for those people who are watching this video, by the way, this is today, actually. Today, in fact, is Hordur's 41st birthday, right? So it is his actual birthday. And I've already wished him happy birthday before you guys start questioning about why didn't I start with that. I already had wished him happy birthday before we started the video. So yeah, no, it's his 41st birthday, which is amazing. And, Hordur is just an amazing guy that he actually was happy to do this interview, despite the fact that it's his birthday and he should be, celebrating. So thank you very much, man. I appreciate that.
By the way, people watching, I don't support this at all. Just it's my birthday. It's a personal choice, but if you fucked up and you do this, you'll get worse.
Fair enough.
But so just in case people think that I'm advocating anything.
Yeah.
That's not good. The bad food either.
Not the bad food either.
No.
No, because I know
I don't choose sides anymore. It's a waste of time.
I know you go to the gym quite regularly, so I can vouch for that. The fact that you do try and look after your health. So
15 minutes.
15 minutes
to stay not depressed. It's all it takes.
Yeah.
And the sauna and the cold shower.
Nice. That sounds good. All right, so let's go somewhere else. Now you said that you went through a period where you were homeless, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, during that period when you actually were homeless, what did you miss the most?
I didn't actually realize it was a bad period at the time, because what homelessness does to you, and I mean, I slept on the streets just once, twice in the homeless shelter. I wasn't doing any hardcore drugs.
Right.
And most of the time I didn't actually smoke weed, even though I wanted, because I didn't want to go to my friends and ask for a joint, because I was afraid they would judge me because I was no longer a worthy citizen. So it was a double life. And I didn't associate myself with homeless people because you become the average of the 5 people you spend most time with.
Yes, yes, there it is.
I learned this thankfully before this period because
yeah.
Otherwise I kept thinking if I go there I will not return. And what was the question again?
So my question was, what did you miss the most?
Oh yeah, my daughter actually. When you reach a point where you got your brain or what little mental capacity you have in your head, your hands and your feet and your heart sometimes, you become so detached from society that it's, for a moment, for some days, and I still think this was some of the best days I've had because there was no obligation, no responsibilities. It was like being a caveman, and when you reach this level of freedom, I remember this specific day I was going with, I had the jacket still, that was my first furniture here. A jacket I bought for £4 or something like that, second hand. Right. I was digging in earlier through the day. I was spending money by digging into garbage cans, picking bottles and cans to trade for money.
Right.
And then I went to this upper middle class bar.
Right.
And when you become so free, all the women were looking at me like I was the only guy they'd ever seen. So if you want to take a step further in life, if you can detach your need for everything you have, it clears up the head. I couldn't understand why they're looking at me because I felt like I was a garbage can myself. But I think it's more maybe because people are generally afraid somewhere inside a little bit. But no, I didn't miss anything back then. But when I recovered, I could see it was a very, very, very slippery slope. It took me 3 months to realize I was homeless.
Yeah.
I thought I was just crashing here and there.
Yeah. Wow. No, that's really powerful, man. Because I know, I never did drugs, and I haven't really had any failed relationships as such. But in terms of homelessness, I have been through a similar sort of experience, so I can relate to that. And you're right, at that point, to me, the biggest thing was the thing I missed the most was actually not knowing really where my future was gonna go.
Yeah.
Right? It's just crippling, right? It's just you feel that's it, you're broken, that's it. There's nothing to look forward to, nothing that will happen to actually fix the situation. It's only going to get worse. The only thing that can happen at that point is going to get worse, right? So yeah, for me, that was the most painful thing about the whole experience. But awesome. I mean, the fact that you felt, despite everything that was going on, you still felt a certain freedom that you had. And I think, that's really important, because I think that allowed you to really focus on certain things which, might have actually made it worse for you. So, for example, staying away from doing the hardcore drugs, staying away from, other homeless people. And I absolutely mean it in the sense that it just helped you in terms of maintain that positive mindset, because like you said, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, right? So if you are able to, kind of upgrade your 5, it just takes you to a whole another level. Yeah. And the positive mindset, I mean, that's the critical moment when you need it, right? That is the time where you need it. Right?
Yeah, actually.
Because everything's on the line. That's it, right? What else there is? There's nothing. That's it. This is the ground zero, right? So, yeah, I think that was something very smart you did. there. Awesome. All right.
That was.
Sorry, go on.
I just want to add. I
sure.
was working for my sister in Iceland before I came to Denmark, and
Okay.
she's in real estate.
Right.
And she was the one that brought me into this growth mentality, like early 2000s. And I was, when she told me this, the average of 5 people, because she had read Jim Rohn and all these people.
Yeah.
Oh, that's bullshit. Like, and then when you, as you say, when you are in the situation, this stuff becomes like a golden ticket.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely true, man. I talk about it a lot on the channel, like you're the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. You need to upgrade your 5, but also let go of the rotten apples who just keep bringing you down, right? You have to let go of all the toxic people in your head, in your life, right? And you might not be able to get rid of them completely, but you do have the power to limit the exposure, you know, in terms of how much time you spend with them. So you can absolutely do that. And that's something that I have done myself. This is something that I have experienced myself, and which is why I'm always promoting that. I'm talking to people about it, so they also, you know, listen to it, take it on board, and then start to implement it. And I will also direct them to a podcast. Guys, if you're watching this video, I will also direct you to the Mentee podcast, which is just a fantastic podcast, but it's all about upgrading the 5 people you spend the most time with, right? And it teaches you some amazing networking skills, started by Jeff Woods, and now the season 2 hosted Adam Eats. And guess what? He was the last person I interviewed. So if you haven't checked that out, go and check that out, okay? On the channel. Adam Eatson, he's the season 2 host, and I interviewed him in the last video. So please go and check that out. Okay, so let's move on to the next question. What are some of the internal adjustments you've actually made that allowed you to actually deal with the pain and all the negative experiences? Because a lot of time, people, when they go through something like this, something, you know, that is so negative and something that's so painful, they break down, right? They absolutely break down. So what internal adjustments did you make that then allowed you to actually deal with those negative experiences and the pain?
You mean like which tools did I learn or?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, we can talk about tools, strategies, any other kind of routines or tactics, practices, whatever you want to talk about.
If I'm really pissed off.
Lovely. Okay, love it, man. Awesome. Go for it.
Often it's just like a. This is a very strong guitar, so I could drop it on the floor. It won't get hurt.
Yeah.
If people don't know how to draw, you just take something and you just this movement helps. You might get good over time. And actually, all this stuff here on that wall over there.
Yeah.
Most of it I did when I was seriously anxious, depressed, and drunk, and then I repainted it when I was sober.
Wow, it looks beautiful, by the way. It looks absolutely beautiful.
Thanks. But what everybody can do, that I also do still to this day, is if it's uncomfortable or embarrassing or I'm afraid, if I'm approaching someone that I'm interested in or jumping into the cold ocean, if it's not dangerous, this may sound like arrogant for a privileged person, but I always, right before I do it, I tell myself this is not a concentration camp. I mean, people survive that shit mentally. Yeah. And another thing I use is what I call the scale mentality, like a scale. If the negativity is pulling you down, you put your focus on the other side. And the actual way to do it is to just calm yourself down.
Yeah.
And for anxiety, what I did took me like 3 years. I didn't sleep properly for like 2 years. I don't know. Some days I did. When you stop smoking weed, you also don't sleep at all for a week, and you sweat because the anxiety comes up. And I was lying just on the opposite of this wall here, all cramped up, sweating, and the pulse, my resting pulse at 11 in the evening was at 90.
Wow.
My natural is 60.
Yeah, yeah. Wow.
The panic attacks were like sometimes the world would be like so. There was a concert I played for 2.5 hours. Went out to the break, realized I wasn't breathing.
Wow.
And went back inside. There was this very hot girl. I'm like, fuck, I have to play more. And after that, I hallucinated and collapsed in the library almost, taking books down, nearly. All kinds of things. And as I'm lying there in bed, I get this split second of peace where I ask myself, you are on welfare in a safe apartment downtown with a warm shower in the other room. It's for free. Somebody else goes to work to pay for you. And you're worrying about Christmas 6 weeks from now. Why are you afraid? What is going on here? And I put my focus to the body instead of the thoughts and just focused on the cramps, the sweating, the pulse.
Yeah.
And it just, like I cut the tie between mind and body, and the thoughts came down too. And because I'm a little bit reckless, I started intentionally to think bad thoughts just to see what happened. The body came up again. So I did it again, and I haven't had any noticeable anxiety since. And this was in November.
Wow.
I'd been having this, I thought there were ghosts in the old apartment. When I was walking up the stairs, I realized I was going where I lived.
Yeah.
It was anxiety. Couldn't understand why this was the only staircase that was difficult to walk.
Yeah.
So, sometimes the most important thing is to not believe your own BS. Especially if you're depressed, because that can eventually lead to suicide.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, a year and a half ago, I went so insane on anxiety. I was gonna do it over there. But I got the idea to go downtown and get drunk instead. So, like that. When you have to choose between two fucked up things.
Yeah.
So I think it's important that everybody knows they're not alone and there's a way out. And even if you choose psychiatric drugs, therapy, you do it on your own way like I did, or fight it with weed or without weed. Like, it's hard, it takes time, but it's possible. So fucking hang in there, guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, at the start of the video, I said that a lot of the stuff I can relate to. And a lot of the stuff you talk about now, I can absolutely relate to, because the reason I kind of had my experience with homelessness was because I was really depressed. I was really, really depressed. And I was on antidepressants. Nothing was helping. Even went to counseling for a bit, like nothing helped. And the only way I could do it was to actually get away from that situation. And in my case, it was like brought on because of my parents' relationship. They had a very, very broken, destructive, like, I just can't even describe it. It's just the kind of nightmare that you only see in horror movies, that kind of relationship. And, it affected me a lot, mentally, emotionally. I grew up really broken, dysfunctional, and deep down, like, I wanted, like, there was a part of me which wanted to be normal and good and all those kind of things, but because of the environment I was in, it was just so toxic and poisonous that, like, there was no escape from it. And for a long time, that was the case. Like, I was depressed even into my 20s, and I've been thinking about committing suicide. There were times where I was thinking about that, and it was hard, man. It was really, really hard to get through all of that. But I'm a really stubborn SOB, and one of the things is I just never, ever stop. Like, nothing's gonna beat me. No matter how bad it is, no matter what happens, nothing's gonna beat me. Like, I'm gonna have my bad bad times, you know, and I will lose my battles, but I'm going to freaking win that war. So I've always been like that. Like, no matter how crazy it was, I was maybe even thinking about suicide and stuff, but like, didn't matter. Like, I was going to go through whatever it was that I had to go through, right? Again, same thing, anxiety and panic attacks and like sleep, man, frippin' heck. I still have lots of issues that I'm dealing with, and I still don't sleep very well. Like, my sleep is like, okay, fair enough, I've got young kids, but at the same time, my sleep is not that kind of deep sleep anymore. I have broken nights and all sorts of other stuff. You know, still have the negative thought patterns. The only thing is that I'm now consciously aware, and I'm working on those. So things like meditation, breathing exercises, spiritual healing, you know, actual stuff that I knew it was internal, like, you know, some pill, some medicine was not going to work for me. It might work for other people, you know, therapy, counseling, that kind of thing. It wasn't working for me. Something else had to do. So I then looked into all of this kind of stuff. You know, I spent a lot of time, started going to the gym, you know, to work on myself and focus on myself, start reading, you know, personal development books, start following, you know, certain people in the personal development industry, start learning more about it. And to be honest with you, the real big change in me happened kind of like, and I think I'm still going through this change. It's not going to stop for a while, really, but it really started in 2016. That was the year where this really thing started to change for me. Because before that, I was like, on the outside, I was functioning okay. I did go through my daily routines and did my daily stuff, but it was just a routine. Like, I wasn't excited by anything. I wasn't happy with anything. Like, it was just, you know, things that you went through. Okay, a series of steps you have to do every single day. And the real change started to occur in 2016. And one of the biggest things that I've noticed myself is that confidence.
Yeah.
Right? Like, freaking hell, man, you are like, I was so crushed, and I know maybe you can relate to that. You just get so crushed by all of this. The constant, you know, your brain's just being torn into pieces all the freaking time. Your emotions are all over the place. Like, you know, if you actually stick a scale on there, right, like a needle, like, it just goes from one extreme to the other extreme, like in a blink of an eye, all the time. It's ridiculous, right? So like, I started to gain a lot more control once I started to implement those steps, you know, start having routines, start learning more about personal development, psychology, you know, neuroplasticity, start following certain people, start learning about, you know, mindset, focus on myself, you know, learn breathing exercises, meditation, and slowly I've started to now come out of it. And there are still times, though, like, something might happen and drags me down. Like, I go back into that phase, and you have to start working your way up again. But I'm in a lot better place than I was before, so that's got to count for something, right? Yeah.
I don't read, except for...
okay. The brain that changes itself.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's the one that gave me hope that depression was malleable.
Yeah, it's malleable. Yeah,
malleable.
Yeah, absolutely. And for people who are watching this video, by the way, you need to really look into things like, you know, psychology, neuroplasticity, mindset, and it's only through finding out those things you start to see that you actually do have that control over those things. Like, if you're going through depression, you're going through anxiety, you're having panic attacks, you know, you might be contemplating suicide, you know, whatever it is, no matter how bad it is, the fact is, it's just in your head, right? And you can do something about it. You have control over it, okay? And the only way you can really do that is if you start to learn about all these things. You start to, you know, find out more. You start to follow people like the Tony Robbins of the world. You start to, you know, start watching videos that are released by Impact Theory and Tom Bilyeu, and everything like that. You start to look at, you know, people who had it really, really bad and actually, you know, are now super successful, like Chris Gardner. And they actually made a movie about his life called In Pursuit of Happiness, which starred Will Smith.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
Was that the guy on Impact Theory?
No, I don't think so. I'm not sure if he's been on Impact Theory yet. His name is Chris Gardner, and his real situation was way worse than what's depicted in the movie. But wow, man, like when you look at people like that, like you really start to see actually, you know, if they can do it, I can get through this too.
Yeah. Do you know how I found Inside Quest?
No, I don't know. Actually, go shoot.
I was so afraid of going homeless again.
Okay.
It was like a year or 8 months after I got the apartment. I'm like, if I'm gonna be sure, I have to have $1 billion. So I went to YouTube and billionaire mindset.
Yeah.
And the first clip I watched was billionaire PA on Inside Quest because he looks a little bit like Jimi Hendrix and his hair was purple and yellow, and I'm like, I'm gonna give this a shot. And then Tom Bilio comes on with the intro. I'm like, okay, my life's fucking great.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was in prison for like 8 years, lived in his car in the US. Like I was in welfare in Denmark with a free apartment, so suddenly I realized that I was in paradise.
Yeah.
And just earlier this day, I got a SMS from the Red Cross saying that in Nigeria and East Africa, 900,000 kids are at the risk of death from hunger. Like,
oh my word!
Now, right now.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you live in Europe, man, like,
yeah, I know, man.
Just makes it arrogant to be down. Seriously.
Yeah.
If you think 5-year-olds that don't have a choice.
Yeah, I know. There are some real horror stories, like, you know, kids who are like 2-year-olds and they've been abandoned and they're living by themselves. You know, sleeping on the road, man, sleeping on the road, 2-year-olds, and they're dying. They're literally dying of starvation. Nobody's looking after them. Nobody's feeding them. They don't have any clothes. They have nowhere to go. I mean, there are some real horror stories out there, and that's another thing. You know, you start to see your life in a slightly different lens through that. But yeah, man, wow, some pretty crazy stuff, right?
Yeah,
pretty crazy stuff.
Why doesn't this change? That's for another day. Like,
that's for another day, maybe.
I will get angry if you start talking about why.
I think we both will. I think. Yeah.
Everybody will.
Yeah, and I think it's something that like, it's just, if you don't get upset by this, like, there's something seriously wrong with you.
Yeah.
You know.
And if you do, you start losing in your own life. So it's it's kind of fucked up. There's a limit to how much you can care before you destroy your own thing.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next question. Right. Okay, so if you actually found somebody in your position who was homeless, who was going through all the things that you went through, if you found him, if you met that person right now, what advice would you give them?
I would probably show them a video from Syria, like, seriously. And then tell them, look around. Like, you don't live anywhere, but you are in a great place.
Yeah.
As in great surroundings. But when you are in this place, it's very hard, and you're so depressed, to see the possibilities that you have. Yeah. So I'm not sure if it would work. I don't think it would have worked on me back then. So. What would you say to a person in your position?
I like how you switched that, by the way. I like how you switched the question on me. I really love it when that kind of things happen. No, it's good. I like how when that kind of things happen. I get really excited by it. So that's awesome, man. Okay, so if I was to give somebody advice, it would be, I think the one thing that kind of got me through was just like, you know, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to stop. So it was my decision. Like, I made a conscious decision. And my advice to you would be, you need to make a conscious decision. Like, if you really want to get out of it, and I wanted to get out of it, like I didn't want to stay there, and I don't think anybody else does either. Like nobody wants to stay there. You want to get out, you just don't know how. You don't even know where to start, right? But I just like, it doesn't matter how long it takes. It doesn't matter what happens. It doesn't matter what I go through. I'm just not going to give up. I'm going to stick with it, and I'm going to get out on the other end. And I was like, you know, homelessness, suicidal thoughts, whatever, depression, anxiety, whatever. Like, I was going through all of that, but my conscious decision was, I'm not giving in. I'm not going to give in to this. I am going to choose my destiny, and this is not it. This is not how I end. I have a lot more to give. So that'll be the advice that I give them. And actually, funnily, I can relate to a recent incident where I went late to the shops to actually buy a few things. And just outside, I saw this person who was homeless, who was just sitting there. And he wasn't really bothering anybody. He was just like, you know, it was cold, so he was wrapped himself up in his jacket and his like blanket. But everybody was just kind of ignoring him, and nobody had given him any change, etc. And they were just going in and out, etc. So I went into the supermarket as well. I bought the shopping that I needed to buy, but I bought some extra stuff, right? I bought some extra stuff, and I thought I'll give him something on the way out. I came outside, and you know, I gave him the food, and he was at the time, you know, just kind of sitting there. And I'm like, hey man, do you need anything else, right? Do you need anything else? And he was like, can I have some water, please? And I was like, sure, man, it's just not a problem. You just wanted some water. So I went back in, and this time I bought even some more stuff. I bought him water, and I bought him like still water, a big bottle of still water, and some extra, you know, like flavored water, right? And I bought him some crisps, and I also bought him some chewing gum, right? Because I know that's important, right? Like that makes your day. So I bought him some.
Yeah, I need to release his water too.
Yeah, so I bought some chewing gum for him, and I went back and I was like, hey man, here's your water, and I bought you some of the good stuff as well. So I gave him the flavored water, I gave him the crisps, and I gave him the chewing gum and things like that. He was very, very happy. And one of the other, he was talking to somebody else. I'm guessing it was his friend who had come over as well. And I shook both of their hands. I introduced myself. I was like, I'm Talal, what are your names? And, you know, they said their names. And I was like, guys, can I ask you a question? Okay. Can I just ask you, what is your superpower? Right? What's your superpower? And this person, and he was in his like 50s, I think. He looked like old. He must have been in his 50s. And he turned around and he's like cooking, man. I like cooking. And I was like, if your superpower is cooking, then you need to work with that. Go and offer help. Offer people help. Right? You're good at cooking. You enjoy, you might be able to tell them something they don't know, and everybody needs help, right, with something, right? Yeah. And if it's cooking, you are the guy who's going to come and save the day. Go offer them help. And when you help other people, you become a person of value. When you become a person of value, you will start to see changes. You'll be able to get out of this situation. You will be able to, like, you know, take positive steps towards getting out of this environment. So go and do it. Go offer people help. Okay? Go and help them out.
Did you tell him this?
Sorry?
Did you actually say this to him?
Yes. Yes, I did. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's confident, man.
So that's the advice I gave him. I'm like, go and offer people. That's your superpower. That's how you're going to save other people, right? If this is your superpower, you're going to be able to save other people like with it, right? But go and help them, right? Offer them help. And everybody needs help with something. So if it's cooking, if it's food, go somewhere where people are eating food, where they make food, etc. Offer help. Right? Just free. Just don't expect anything back. Just for free. And then you become a person of value.
What did he say?
He basically just said, that was good advice. That was really good advice. Yeah. And his friend was like, you're a very good person, man. You're a very, very good person. You're a nice man. I was like, don't worry about it, guys. Just go and do it. Just follow the advice. Because like me giving him food would not solve his problem.
No, it's just to
It's
make
just
the day
temporary.
easier.
It's perishable.
Yeah.
But I felt that if I gave him some good piece of solid advice, and if he, you know, if he took it to heart and if he acted on it, he will start to change things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So yeah, I like how you reversed that question on me. But yeah, I just thought I'll relate this story to you as well, because that's the actual advice I've given somebody. So yeah, okay. So did you think of anything, by the way, or should we move on?
No.
Okay, we'll move on.
I have a visual brain. I was seeing this guy sitting and how the store looks.
That's cool. We'll move on. All right. So, in your opinion, what's the connection between mindset and success? This is obviously coming from somebody who's hit rock bottom, right? Like you were depressed, you were homeless, you were contemplating suicide, and now you're in a much healthier place. You know, you're physically, mentally more healthy. Your environment has clearly changed, and you're on an upward spiral, right? So, coming from that person, like people who are watching this, this is going to be like one of the most genuine pieces of advice probably that you're going to receive. So, what do you think is the connection between mindset and success?
Everything. I always had this desire to do the big things. Like this is how my mind works.
Oh, beautiful!
Like,
beautiful.
Takes 14 hours because it's a small pen, but
that is beautiful.
Sometimes my brain just shuts off. The stress. It's,
yeah.
Can you ask the question again, please?
Sure, of course I can. What's the connection between mindset and success?
Yeah, now I remember. I don't have the drive to succeed at anything anymore because I'm not depressed. I realized that I wanted to do those spectacular things. And have you seen where Gary Vee talks about document versus create?
Yes.
I got so obsessed with create. I would spend 20 hours getting the thing perfect, and then I get 5 likes. And now I'm actually seeing laziness as a good thing. Like what we're doing right now is not hard, but it can still grow to a lot of things. So I'm more patient than I was. If you just stay, you don't have to be like happy every day, but if you believe that things are generally good and you're gonna get there.
Yeah.
And you accept that your hair might be gray and you might not be like a young hot stud when you finally get all the money. The mindset is everything. Nothing has changed. I'm still on welfare. I'm not broke anymore because I eat cheap stuff. I don't buy weed, which is a very expensive thing. If I go to the bar, I'd buy 3 beers maybe.
Yeah.
And this thing about like this desperation is the key to depression, anxiety, stress, and addiction. The addiction is like, you know how people often feel by the end of the month when they have no money. And you look into your refrigerator, it's empty, it feels depressing.
Yeah.
But if you can learn to just realize that there are 900,000 kids starving, if you just accept that your situation is bad, but not that bad.
Yeah.
Just the perspective has to be, you have to find a meaning in every situation. And stress, I think, is when you're busy outside and broken inside.
Yeah.
Because how can you work for 14 hours or 8 hours if you're working in a kindergarten or a police officer or whatever, those highly stressful jobs? If you really need 2 months to just sit down, analyze and dissect and heal what's going on inside. Actually, I think that stress, depression, addiction and anxiety are the same thing, or they stem from the same thing, but I don't know what that is. It's kind of a soul I don't know.
Yeah, yeah.
How to get the mindset, I'm not entirely sure, but there are heaps of books and your show and so forth where people can. I went to Insight Fest, which is now called Impact Theory.
Yes, impact theory, yeah.
And then the guy I like most is this Gary Vee is my favorite because he's so Icelandic. Like, stop fucking complaining.
Yeah.
The way he talks it's Icelandic for sure.
Yeah, Gary Vee is awesome. Everybody loves Gary Vee. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially when he's angry.
Yeah, but he's on one of his rants, like just slaying everyone. Like, yeah, he's awesome. He's awesome, man.
Did you see the one about the haters?
I'm not sure actually. I tell you, you can send me the link, and I'll actually, if you send me the link, I'll put it below in the description of the video for people who don't know who Gary Vee is, and also put in I'll try and put a link down below for impact theory, so they can go and actually check it out, because obviously, you know, that is just absolute gold.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people can learn a lot of stuff from that. So I'll put both the links, and I'm just making a note now for making sure that I put those links below in the description of the video. Awesome. All right, so I think you're absolutely right there, that mindset and success are completely, you know, interlinked, and the link is it's without the mindset there is no success. No. Right? So, and I think both of us will agree sitting here that, you know, the experiences that we've had, the key change really came from within, from the inside, right? Not necessarily from the outside, but the key changes, the key understanding, the key kind of breakthroughs were all on the inside. So, yeah, I think I just wanted to kind of stress that for people who are watching this, that the key is mindset. Okay, mindset will lead you to success. It's like basically everything starts with thoughts, right? Everything starts with a thought. And if you're able to control those thoughts, you take charge of your life.
Yeah.
And when people ask about, like, well, how do I take, you know, control of my thoughts? And I talk about it quite a lot on the channel as well. In one of the previous videos as well, I talked about it. I think this was the interview with John Bolt. This is like 2 interviews ago. He runs the Teacher Tunnel podcast. Awesome guy. And we were talking about this as well, like how you take control of your thoughts. So again, I'll repeat that same advice here for the people who are watching the video. And the advice is simple. Ask yourself more powerful questions. Okay? Questions that empower you, right? And I gave examples of 2 of those questions, and I'll repeat those questions right here, right now for you guys. So question number 1 is, what's the one thing I can do right now that allows me to be one step closer to achieving blank? And you fill that blank, right? Whatever it is you're walking towards. And the second kind of question you can always ask yourself is, what's the one thing I can do such that by doing it, everything else becomes easier or unnecessary? And a simpler version of that would be something like, well, if this was easy, whatever it is that you're doing or whatever it is you're going through, if this was easy, what would it look like? Right? So it's those kind of really powerful, empowering questions that give your brain some sort of direction to work towards. When you ask those questions, your brain now have a reason to start thinking about those things. And as soon as your brain starts thinking about those things, you start to pull yourself out of that, you know, kind of a void, right?
Yeah.
And you start to then, you know, have more control. You start to gain more control over your own thoughts, your own behavior patterns. You become more conscious about, you know, what's going on and why you're feeling a certain way and what this thought pattern is and where this is leading, all sorts of stuff. So definitely I just wanted to repeat that advice for the people who are watching this video as well. All right, so just a couple of more questions, just really I want to dig a little bit deeper. In the difficult times that you have gone through, what were some of the practices or one practice whichever, you know, you actually had, that were most useful to you?
Like in the moment or on a daily basis? Or,
whichever.
actually, the fastest way, the easiest, or the most, what's the word? Well, I can tell you that it took me about 5 days to end a nasty depression by eating different things.
Right.
It was one of those moments where I was like, ugh, like, I just got the welfare check. I'm just going to the supermarket. Just when you start eating vegan or vegetarian, you buy a lot of stuff that just rots. And it took me about 4 months to make a menu.
Right.
Worked, and like, I cannot stress this enough, but if you just jump into the fucking ocean in the morning and get the fuck up very fast, the first few days you're gonna be in a narcotic state. So you cannot go into the ocean and then drive home. Then you're gonna leave the car. Once you get used to that, just a cold splash into the face in the morning clears everything.
Yeah.
If I sweat in the gym, you can always just take a walk, half an hour, come home, take a warm shower, cool it down. The gym is for people that like to go there. I only go there because there's a swimming pool attached. It takes me only 10 times to get that for free, so.
Yeah.
I don't work out that much.
Okay.
Just 15 minutes of cardio, and the sauna. I mean, if you're having a horrible day, you just binge watch, like, just people that make you laugh.
Yeah, very, very, good advice. Solid advice there, man. Yeah.
If you've been working at the same company for 5 years, there's nothing wrong with lying to your boss and saying you're sick and just watch Netflix for a day. Because otherwise, if you go too far, if you go over the stress limit, you're not going back to work 2 years. Like.
Yeah.
So, what else? Don't watch the news.
True.
Don't support any political parties because you don't know how they're gonna pan out. Conspiracy theories and pornography are worse than weed. I would put them close to alcohol, like in mental destruction, because there's nothing but negativity there.
Yeah.
It's hard if you get into either of those to get out.
Yeah.
Especially conspiracy theories because it's about things that are relevant.
Yeah.
But then you go deeper and deeper and deeper, and you start to believe that you're being mind controlled. Yeah. And I went all in on this Illuminati's thing, and one day I decided they don't exist. Like, maybe they do, and they died. Like,
yeah.
And I mean, if you watch the news, there are 7 billion people. There's got to be at least 50 people that are doing something horrible every day. And if you read about that throughout the day, I mean, hear people talk about refugees coming from Syria into Denmark. Like, I've met 2 of those people. They speak Danish. Like, so. Yeah. One of the guy went to school to learn Danish and had 2 jobs. Like, he's more American than any fucking, like, yeah. Gary Vee says it best. Stop worrying about other people's shit.
Yeah.
Just focus on your own, then you can be nice to everybody else. If you're nice to bad people, they become nicer. I mean, I've been bad. I'm not bad anymore.
Yeah. Good solid advice there, though. Very, very good solid advice. And for people who don't live next to the ocean and don't have ocean available to them, have a cold shower, okay? That will wake you up. Yes. And the whole point behind that, but what we're talking about here, is the fact that it just shocks your brain. It shocks your nervous system. So you basically disrupt that negative pattern, right? That negativity that's just surrounding you and that constant fog inside of your head that you can't get rid of, and it's just poisonous and toxic, and your brain just feels like it's being just torn to pieces all the time, and your emotions are all over the place, and you just cannot motivate yourself to even get out of bed. Like, if you can only do one thing, get into an ice cold freaking shower, shock your system, and you will see how quickly you break free of that, right?
Yeah.
Trust me, like your brain goes into shock and it's like, oh, what's going on? And that's the time where you can take control. That's the time where you can actually start a different dialogue inside your head. That's the time where you can reset your emotions and your thoughts and everything, right? So you shock your brain, which is why this was fantastic advice to go and just like, you know, jump in the ocean or, you know, have a cold shower, whatever. But like it has to something that shocks your system. Also, you know, breaking your routine, you know, like watching Netflix, okay? But again, watching something that's, you know, either constructive or something that will actually, you know, cheer you up. So not watching the news, not watching any like horror movies, and not watching, you know, anything that's going to pull you some dark stuff. But really, it's things that kind of uplift you, surrounding yourself with, you know, watching something funny, right? Watching a Gary Vee video, because like you watch a Gary Vee video when he's on fire, you will be on fire, guaranteed, right? Okay, will you agree with me? Will you agree with me on this, right? Like if you watch Gary Vee when he's on fire, damn, like you're gonna feel like you're gonna go and conquer the world in the next 5 minutes. Like that's how fired up you get after that. So yeah, definitely go check out a Gary Vee video at that point.
Definitely.
Yeah.
He should be a stand-up comedian. He doesn't even tell jokes. It's just
no, he just slays people. He just rips them apart, and it's just beautiful how he does it. But he's real. Like he's like the reason people love him is because he's real. He's down to earth, and he just like, well, this is how it is, right? He just lays it to you. There's no beating about the bush. So yeah, absolutely.
And he looks like the guy next door. He doesn't wear a suit.
No, he just looks like some guy walking down the road. Like you won't even know that this is Gary Vee. Yeah, nothing that makes him stand out. No. But he's such a cool guy. Like, you know, wow, one of my heroes.
Yeah, I watch him every day just to keep myself up.
Yeah, but you watch one of those videos, you're gonna feel like running through walls and conquering the world in the next 5 minutes. It just gets you so freaking fired up, no matter what you're doing. Awesome.
Yeah, which is great for people that live. If they have no one to talk to, you have the fucking internet. Like, you can watch this motivational stuff all day long. Yeah, and it's free on YouTube. It's absolutely free. You don't even have to pay for it, right? It's all there on YouTube. Yeah, I watch a lot of Gary Vee stuff. He's so awesome, man. Beautiful. All right. What are your plans for the future, my friend? What's next for you? I'm gonna plug the phone into electricity. Oh, sure, man. My dream is to travel the world, play music, improvisational music with people from all over the world, and eat their local food. And not be married while I'm on the road. So to speak. Maybe it's because I never had that experience, you know, the rock and roll thing. I don't know. Yeah. I'm not sure if it's a good relationship thing to never be. Right. Right. Okay. And yeah, make sure that this stuff that I have learned gets passed on to my daughter. I tell her all those things, like in a child language. And children are so mind-blowing. She's becoming more clever than I am. She's 10 years old. Oh, wow. And she was, I promised her something, and then I was tired and said, let's go home. Like, but you promised me. And I was trying to give her a lesson of expectations and disappointment. And she's like, well, okay, then why do you expect to be healthy? I'm like, why? Like, oh, man. What can I say? Yeah. Like, you know, why do you expect that all the hard work you do, diet and so forth, that going to the gym, why do you expect that to work? Yeah. Well, they catch you out, man. They really catch you out. They're very, very clever. No, definitely. Outsmarted by a 10-year-old, man. Yeah. You'd be surprised. You'd be surprised, my friend. No, but yeah, the kids these days are very smart. Very, very smart. Another thing I want to mention about this, I think that the developing countries are going to kick our ass once they get free internet and all this stuff, because if you're one of those 900,000 that survive this, and you can run an online business, you will work 600 hours a day,
Yeah, because you're just so freaking hungry, right?
Yeah, if you, okay, Instagram, I can use that to make money. Just take picture of animals. Like, yes, he was downloading a app to trade binary horses. Do you know that? It's a kind of a, people say it's a scam.
I've heard of it.
And I'm like, she's 10 years old, and she's, yeah, daddy, I'll just get money into the account. They promised. So I'm thinking about maybe get her a stock trading game. Like,
yeah.
And then they create their own world in Minecraft. They still go out and play. It's like just more clever than us.
Yeah. We never had access to that kind of stuff when we were little.
No.
Yeah. Their mind is just constantly growing because of all this stimulus that they get from all these things.
Yeah.
As long as that's controlled, and as long as you allow them, a time period where they have access to this kind of stuff under supervision, then yeah, absolutely, it's mind-blowing stuff what they can do with it. What about your blog, by the way? What's the latest news on your blog? Hello? Hello? Can you hear me?
So think about recording on your birthday, everybody's cool. Anyhow, yeah.
Yes, guys, we're back. There was just some problem with the connection. We managed to solve it. It's all good. And I just wanted to just say, look, these videos are unedited, okay? And I don't edit them on purpose, because then you know that nothing's been left out. Like, I haven't just included the good bits. Like, this is how it happened in real time. The good bits, the bad bits, everything is in there. So you get to actually relive the whole event. You get to experience the whole thing all over again when you watch this video, because this is exactly how it happened. And I think there's nothing more authentic and true and more pure than that. But the only thing is that with these kind of videos, because they're long distance calls, internet connection is sometimes dodgy, the quality is not great sometimes. So, we have to kind of work around it. So the thing is that we've managed to solve it now. We're back on, so we'll carry on from where we left off. Right, my question was, what's going on with your blog at the moment?
Nothing. After I got the phone, I went to discover other things. I don't know how to make a blog get traffic, like, at all. When you spend an hour to write an article, and you get 3 likes and 15 views, and then you play your guitar at home for an hour and a half and you get 1,000 views. Which I think many of those are just swipes, but it's still 1,000 advertising moments for free.
Yeah. Right, guys, so we're back again. We had some other issues, but we managed to solve them. We're back again. Right, sorry, you were just talking about your blog quickly.
Yeah, I imagine combining, I love writing, but I can't get it to work, so I want to combine all my interest into one thing. Now it's Facebook Live, Instagram pictures, and I'm trying to tweet. I don't understand how that platform works. And
okay.
I got YouTube, I got Snapchat I don't use, and then I got the WordPress blog. And
yeah.
I'm not sure if I'm going to keep blogging per se, but maybe get other people to blog on the site and change it from success pinnacles to my own thing.
Right.
And combine all these different things in one place where people can read, listen to music, look at art. Yeah, there's nothing happening with the blog because I don't know how to use WordPress with success.
Well, what I'm going to do is actually I'll see if I can connect you with one of my friends. She has started a blog on mindfulness, and her blog is doing really, really well. To the point that in one night, she managed to complete her whole month's quota of site visits. Okay? So she's doing really, really well. She's I've spoken to her and we've discussed some strategies, etc., about what she can do with her blog, and she's been implementing those strategies. She's been doing a lot of networking, which I think has been the key to her growth. She's doing a lot of networking, so we've discussed those strategies and we've been going there. I'll send you the link to the blog. I'll put it below in the description of the video as well for those people who want to check it out. I've already done an interview with her. Her name is Amber Robinson. Her interview's on the channel. You can go and check that out as well, but I'll put the link below in the description for the blog. And she's finding quite a lot of success. And she started quite recently, just about a month ago maybe. So she's doing really, really well. And one of the key things was that I'll talk some of the strategy. I don't know everything, but I'll talk about some of the strategy that I do know about. She basically started a blog on mindfulness. She then said, well, how can I actually use this blog to help people? Instead of just like being a blog and trying to get traffic to it, I will take the blog to the people. So she then went and because she was bullied in school, she joined a Facebook group which is called Bikers Against Bullying, where some local biker actually go and talk to kids who've been through some horrible experiences with bullying, and they're going through a lot of anxiety and depression and panic attacks, and some of them might be even contemplating suicide and all sorts of other stuff. And they go and actually spend time with their families and friends and take the kids out to just cheer them up and all sorts. Like they're doing some amazing work. She joined that group and started talking to people about what issues they're having. So parents and children and what's going on, etc., etc. And she just basically started giving them advice. I mean, she wasn't directing them to the blog. She just basically gave them advice on mindfulness techniques and how you can, use breathing techniques and all sorts of other stuff, and how you can be present in the now, and practicing mindfulness with pebbles and all sorts of other things, right? And she started giving them advice. And then when people inquired more, she said, well, actually, if you want to know more, I have a blog. Then she directed them to the blog. And in one night, she filled out her whole month's quota of visits. Wow. It was mind-blowing. So that's what she did. That's the exact technique that she did. So I think your blog, I know I've read some of the articles, and you do a lot of research and you put a lot of thought into it. I mean, they're all about depression and anxiety and all that kind of stuff, which is all great stuff. And I think you can maybe use that technique about networking with people. And she just joined a Facebook group, start networking with people. And she joined other groups as well. She's joined like the Inside Quest Exchange group, which we're both obviously members of as well, and things like that. And she's networking with people, and then she's just giving advice. She's not really telling them, oh, I have a blog, go there. She's just genuinely giving them advice. I want to help you out here. What issues you're having, etc., etc. And then if somebody asks for more stuff, she just says, hey, here's my blog. And when they go and check out the blog, they just share it with all their friends, and it just goes boom, like everybody's on it.
Of course.
Yes.
Give without asking anything in return.
Yes.
And you shall receive one day.
And you will receive, yeah. And
more than if you were.
Yeah, this happened in the same night. She networked for 1 hour, she told me. She did for 1 hour, and she filled out her whole month's quota. It was
Wow.
She was sending me screenshots of her blog. It was mind-blowing. So I would suggest this is genuine advice to you, that I know about, but obviously I can try and connect you to her, and you can talk more about blogging and stuff with her, because she knows more about it than I do. But this I do know, this is exactly how it happened and what happened. And so maybe try using that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, because your blog is there, right? You've done so much work. It would be such a shame to actually lose the blog and not carry on with it. I'd love for you to carry on. I think you've done some great work, and you still have so much to offer. And what I would say is that if you maybe, I'll try and connect you with Amber, but if you try and use that kind of same blueprint, it will help. Because she went there with no expectations, and just generally said I just want to help you guys. If you have any questions about mindfulness, ask me. And when the people ask more, I mean, she was even texting people on a one-to-one basis, calling them, and just keeping up, hey, did you do your mindfulness today? Is there anything else I can help you with? That kind of thing. And how did your child do today, after we talked about discussing mindfulness techniques with them, and this, that, and the other. And she was genuinely helping people. It wasn't just made up. But the fact is, when they wanted to know more, she's just look, I'm putting a blog post. You can learn so much more from my blog if you're interested. And when people went there and checked it out, I mean, obviously she was doing good stuff, and they just shared it with everybody, and just boom, it just took off.
Wow.
Yeah. So maybe worth looking into that.
What do they say? When patience and preparation meet, luck gets created. Or
I like that. Very
Somebody
good.
said something like that.
Very good. Yeah, yeah. But definitely, I'd say try using that because it'll be such a shame to lose that blog. I'd love for you to carry on. You've done some amazing work. And for people who are watching this, again, I'll put the link below in the description for the blog. Good Lord, I have to write this down. I'm going to forget. So I'm going to put the link to your blog and also Amber's blog below in the description so people can go and check that out. And the videos as well that I've done with John Belt and Adam Eatson and Amber in case people want to check those out as well because they're all awesome stuff. Right, my friend. Is there anything else that I haven't asked you that you want to talk about?
I really don't remember.
Okay.
We'll get 50 ideas the minute you hang up.
Yeah. That's how it happens. But that's fine. We'll do a round 2 sometime. We'll get you back on, and we'll do a round 2. And for guys who've been watching this video, I mean, come on, like, you know, this has been just so amazing to have this conversation. We went really, really deep, and both, you know, me and Hordur were so open about everything to you guys. Okay, we discussed, you know, some things which other people won't, you know, kind of talk about out, especially on a YouTube channel, right? They won't talk about this stuff, but we were very open with you guys, and we tried to, you know, try and give you some genuine advice and get you to see what it's like to be there. And if you're actually going through some of that stuff, we've tried to give you some, you know, actual practical strategies, tools, and tactics that you can use straight away to actually start moving your life forward. The only ask I have is, guys, please subscribe to the channel so we can make it grow and make it build a strong community around it. And the second ask I will only have of you guys is please share it. Okay, please share it with somebody who needs to hear this message. Please share it with somebody who is close to you and is going through a hard time and need to listen to this, you know, have this available to them. They won't know unless you share. So please share it on any social media platforms. Please share it in email, whatever it is. But let's spread this message. Okay. Right, my friend, where can people go to find you, and how can they help you right now?
My mission is to grow this live music thing into would you like a song by the end?
Well, we have time, my friend, so go for it. I'd love to hear your music because this is going to be quite special. This is live, guys. This is absolutely live. So
increased value. I'll just improvise something.
Go for it.
Where's this thing? My links are kind of all over the place, and my Facebook is in my real name. It's very hard to. I'll give you the links. You can put them in the description.
I will do. I absolutely will do, man.
Let's see if I can get far away enough.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Can you see the guitar?
Yeah, we can see the guitar.
Actually, one thing people could tell me is get some gigs, pay money.
Yeah, okay.
I'll do a cover here today. That's running wrong. Butterflies and zebras in the movies, and a fairy tales, salty rose, riding with the wind. When I'm sad, soothes my eyes. She gives to me free. It's alright, it's alright, it's alright, she says. Anything that you want from me.
You just killed it, my friend.
Thanks.
You just killed it. Love it. Thank you so much for that. That was lovely. That was really, really beautiful. No wonder you got like over 1,000 hits on that when you were on live. When you were live.
It's amazing what 25 years of practice can do.
Yeah, no, that's great, man. That's awesome. Well, it's an absolute pleasure having you on, man. And yeah, thank you so much for taking the time, even on your birthday, to do this with me. I really appreciate it. And if there's anything I can ever do to help you with anything at all, you know where to find me. So just give me a shout.
Yeah.
Always here for you, brother. So yeah, always here for you. But I'd love to have you back on if that's if you're good for some time for round 2.
Definitely, definitely.
Awesome, awesome. Well, guys, there you have it. All I want to say is, again, you know, I really appreciate you guys taking the time to actually watch this video. Please leave some comments. Please give us some feedback. I know that we both would love to hear from you guys. We would both love to find out what was your big breakthroughs, your aha moments, what piece of advice or what piece of information like was most valuable to you. Just let us know. We'll really, really appreciate that. And as always, guys, please just subscribe to the channel so we can make it grow. Okay, the subscription button just below there. Okay, big red button, hit that. And finally, just share the video, please, because I think you know, having amazing guests like this on just drops so much value on all of you guys. And the only ask I have is that you share these videos so you know other people can also benefit from this. So thank you so much, my friend, and hopefully we'll connect again soon.
Yeah. Take care, man.
Stay awesome, my friend. Keep hustling. Take care. Bye.
See you.